What's up, internet? Welcome back. This is Linzer22. Animal Crossing New Horizons is coming very soon. In anticipation for that game, I want to look back at some of the older games. I've already looked back at Animal Crossing for GameCube and Wild World, so in this episode, I'm going to look at Animal Crossing City Folk and Animal Crossing New Leaf, the two later games that are not spin-offs. But before I get into it, let me just remind you guys that this is a forum discussion video, so if you have any memories of these two games, leave it down below for discussion, and subscribe for more content. The third game in the franchise, but it's the second console game. Instead of feeling like a big console sequel, it felt more like a scaled-up port of Wild World. While many people were saying that it felt like if Wild World and the original GameCube version kind of came together, I felt it was way closer to Wild World than it was to the original game. But there's one thing, I could not get into it because it was too samey. It just felt too much like Wild World, and I just finished playing that game. This version was the version that would push this thing called Wii Speak. It was a microphone for your Wii, but it recorded the whole room instead of just yourself. And it had some Nintendo magic because it could cancel out the sound of your TV. Except in practice, it didn't really. I could still hear everyone's TV while playing online. I would have to constantly say, "Jimmy, turn down your TV," in order to play this game. Now, you could buy the game with or without this Wii Speak thing, and I made the fatal mistake of purchasing it without it, because when I played online, I actually couldn't speak to Jimmy. I had to type it in with a Wii remote. I had to wave it around, typing each letter individually, and it was a pain. Now, I believe you could plug in a USB keyboard, but at that point, I was already too annoyed to honestly care. I was most excited for the city aspect of this game, until I tried it out. It felt tacked on and unnatural for Animal Crossing. It felt like they just grabbed all these unique things that would pop up through the town and just put it in one location. So it kind of destroyed the interest of Katrina coming into my town to do the fortune telling and all that random stuff that would happen. It would all just be allocated to the city, and it kind of ruined that aspect for me. Honestly, it wouldn't be until New Leaf until they would figure out the city portion of it. This game pushed a thing called Wii Connect 24, and I can't believe that was a thing, because now every device is Wii Connect 24. Well, not literally Wii Connect 24, it's just every device you own is probably connected to the internet 24/7. It's just weird to think that that was a new idea. And of course, since it's a Wii game, there were some tacked on motion controls. They weren't that bad. They were like, whatever. At that point, you were used to them. You were expecting them. You would not buy a Wii U game and think, oh, this definitely does not have tacked on motion controls. Definitely not. So it was expected. Now, apparently the town is bigger than Wild World, but my experience with this game was shallow, unfortunately, so my memory's fairly fuzzy. So if I came off like I really hated this game, I didn't. I just didn't play enough of it for it to settle in. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that have played this game and think, oh man, this game is awesome. What are you talking about? In fact, my brother played this game and he decided to wear a me head all the time. I did not approve of this. I mean, clearly it did not fit. That me head, it just does not go together. Now, I hope I did not tear that game apart, because it wasn't a bad game. It was just, if you'd imagine, I came from GameCube, loving the game. Then I went to Wild World, a scaled down version of that game with a different perspective. And there were parts of it that I liked and then parts of it I didn't like. And then I see this game, and it's the next console game. I'm excited for it, and it looks more like Wild World. And I don't know, I was looking more forward to a sequel to the first Animal Crossing. But I think I will go back into this game. I will try it out. I do want to play New Horizon first, so I think after I spend some time in New Horizon, I will take a retrospect and play this game, and I'll let you guys know if I change my mind on everything that I've stated. Now let's talk about New Leaf. This was the game that finally pushed me to pick up a 3DS. Now that I remember, the 3DS did terrible its first year and was expected to fail and be short-lived. Of course, it didn't end up that way. In fact, the 3DS actually did really well. Not as well as the Switch. The Switch is actually, looks like it's like it was just made to be successful or something. The Switch is doing amazing. In fact, the dedicated handheld consoles at that time were thought to be dead. The 3DS proved there was still interest, and thankfully so, because smartphone gaming became terrible after it was infected with this horrible thing called microtransactions. Now every game is like, oh, look, it's free. Oh, never mind. It's gonna it's gonna keep popping these ads, and it's gonna do this thing where it says you have to buy in order to have fun, but it's not even fun in the first place. So no thank you, I think I'll just buy my Switch. And honestly, I think that's why the Switch did really well. It's because smartphone gaming probably shot itself in the foot, but it's still making a lot of money. I love this game. There is so much to do, and I finally, at this point, got over my nostalgia for the original GameCube game. It's like I told myself, hey, nothing will ever be the GameCube version, and if you want to play that, go hook up your GameCube. And I was like, fine, I'll enjoy this new game. What's it called? New Leaf. Yeah, I'll enjoy it. In this game, instead of being a simple town dweller, you're actually the mayor, and apparently by accident, but that's okay, because politics. I love the different city ordinances you could commence, like having your flowers that don't die, or shops open late and close later, because, you know, night owls. This gave a lot of control to the player, so it felt like you really were the mayor of the town. The island return in this game, it's a money-making machine. Sure, you could use the island to play multiplayer games with Tour Timer, but the way I utilized this island was, it was the place to catch exotic bugs and fish. Just enter and exit the hut, cabin thing or whatever, and bugs and fishes will just keep repopulating the island, so you can catch them over and over and over. This made me feel so rich for the first time in any Animal Crossing game. Well, except that one time I used an action replay on my original Animal Crossing game, and who knew that having access to unlimited funds in a Animal Crossing game made it so boring. In Wild World, I dabbled with online. In New Leaf, I played tons of online. More people had Wi-Fi now. It wasn't this weird thing that you had to be a rocket scientist to figure out how to connect to. You didn't have to stand outside in the cold because you didn't have Wi-Fi, but you really wanted to play Animal Crossing, because now almost everyone had Wi-Fi, including me at this point. It wasn't some weird, unique gimmick. And now that regular people knew how to connect online, you could do online LAN parties. I guess that's what they call it, right? Online LAN parties. And it had this weird dream thing where you can visit other people's dream, which is basically visiting a town that you couldn't cut down their trees or anything like that. It was cool for a second because you can see like Halloween themed towns and stuff like that. So themed towns. But after that, you're just kind of like, what's the point of this? The whole point of Animal Crossing is to hang out with the other Animal Crossing characters. This is kind of pointless. So to be honest, I only did a couple of dreams and that's about it. The last thing I want to touch on is because you're the mayor of this town, you can actually build like nice looking things for your town. So you can build like this, like a gazebo, a crane, you can build like a bench, like all these random things. Oh, you can also choose where to put the bridges that make your town more easily accessible, which was actually really smart because Animal Crossing will generate a town for you in all the other games, and sometimes the bridge will end up in a place where it's like, really? I have to go around this area just to get onto the bridge? And now you can choose where to put the bridge because it's not a computer choosing for you. So I thought that was really smart. Although in New Horizon, I see you can just jump over the pond, so what's the point of a bridge? Maybe there'll be no pond. Well, anyways, that's what I thought about those two games. Animal Crossing is one of my favorite franchises, but it's a favorite of many people. So I would love to hear your guys' experience with these games so that I could delve in your past experiences. And if you loved City Folk, as I mentioned, my experience with that was fairly shallow. So if I got to see your guys' experience or hear about or read about your guys' experience, that would be a delight. So leave it down below, and if you like discussion videos much like this one, subscribe for more content.